She typed the message with shaking hands, begging a stranger for $20 to feed her baby. But the number was wrong, and the man who read those desperate words would change everything. Before we dive into this remarkable story of unexpected compassion, impossible timing, and the kind of connection that rewrites two lives forever, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Stories like this remind us that sometimes one mistake, one moment of vulnerability, can lead to something extraordinary. Now, let me tell you what really happened. The notification came through at 11:47 on a Tuesday night. Marcus Keller was still in his office on the 52nd floor, the city of Chicago sprawling below him like a circuit board of light and shadow. The coffee had gone cold hours ago, but he barely noticed. Numbers filled the screen before him, projections and portfolios, the language of wealth he'd spoken fluently for nearly 2 decades. His phone buzzed against the glass desk. He almost ignored it. At this hour, it was usually automated alerts or overseas markets opening. But something made him glance down. An unknown number. A text message. "Jason, I know you don't want to hear from me. I know you said we were done, but Lily needs formula, and I'm completely out. The store closes in 13 minutes, and I have $18 to my name. I need 22 more to get the canister that'll last till Friday. Please, just this once. I'll never ask again." Marcus stared at the words, read them twice, then a third time. The desperation was palpable, even through the screen, each word carefully chosen, pride swallowed for the sake of a child. He could feel the weight of what it must have cost this person to send that message. His fingers moved before his brain caught up. "I think you have the wrong number, but is your baby okay?" The reply came almost instantly. "Oh God, I'm so sorry. Please delete that. Wrong person." Marcus set his phone down and walked to the window. 42 floors below, the streets were nearly empty. Traffic lights changed for no one. Somewhere in this vast city, a mother was standing in a store, counting change, hoping it would be enough. He picked up the phone again. "The baby, do you have what she needs?" There was a longer pause this time. He watched the typing indicator appear and disappear 3 times. "Not yet, but it's not your problem. I'm really sorry I bothered you. How much do you need?" Another pause. "I can't ask you that. You're a stranger. You're not asking. I'm offering." "Why would you do that?" Marcus looked at his reflection in the window. A man in an expensive suit, sitting in an expensive office, surrounded by the spoils of success that had somehow left him feeling emptier each year. Because someone should. "How much?" The response took almost a minute. $22. "But I can't accept money from someone I don't even know. Your baby doesn't care where the money comes from. She just needs to eat. What's your Venmo?" He could almost feel her hesitation through the screen. The internal battle between pride and need. Finally, a username appeared. He opened the app and transferred $100. Her response came in all capital letters. "That's too much. You sent the wrong amount. No mistake. Buy formula. Buy diapers. Buy something for yourself, and don't worry about paying it back." "I don't understand. Why are you doing this?" Marcus typed slowly, surprised by his own honesty. "Because 20 years ago, my mother stood in a store like that, counting change for baby formula, and nobody helped her. Maybe this is how I help her now." There was a long silence. Then, "I don't know what to say. Thank you doesn't feel big enough. It's enough. Go take care of your daughter. Her name is Lily. She's 3 months old, and you just saved us tonight." Marcus sat back down at his desk, but the numbers on the screen no longer made sense. All he could see was that text, that raw, honest plea for help. He didn't know this woman's name, didn't know what she looked like, or how she'd ended up in this situation. But for the first time in years, he'd done something that mattered in a way that portfolios and profit margins never could. His phone buzzed one more time. "My name is Claire Morgan, and I will never forget what you did tonight." He stared at the name, Claire. He typed back, "I'm Marcus, and I'm glad I could help." That should have been the end of it. A brief intersection of 2 lives, a moment of kindness exchanged between strangers in the digital void. But sometimes endings are just beginnings wearing a different face. The morning came quietly to Claire's studio apartment. Pale light filtered through the single window, illuminating the reality she woke to every day. A mattress on the floor, a borrowed bassinet, walls that needed paint, and dreams that needed life support. But this morning felt different. She checked her phone before even sitting up, half convinced last night had been a dream. The Venmo notification was still there. $100 from a stranger named Marcus, who'd answered a desperate text that wasn't meant for him. Lily stirred in the bassinet, her small fist finding her mouth. Claire reached over and touched her daughter's soft hair. The new canister of formula sat on the windowsill, along with the pack of diapers and the small container of real coffee she'd allowed herself to buy. Luxuries, all of them. She picked up her phone and stared at the message thread. She'd thanked him already. She shouldn't bother him again. But gratitude kept bubbling up, needing somewhere to go. Good morning, Marcus. I just wanted you to know that Lily slept through the night for the first time ever. I think it's because I wasn't worried for the first time since she was born. Thank you for that. She hit send before she could second guess it, then immediately regretted it. He'd helped. That was enough. She shouldn't become that person who couldn't let go, who confused a single act of kindness for an ongoing relationship. But her phone buzzed 20 minutes later. That's wonderful. A full night's sleep must feel like a miracle. Claire smiled despite herself. It does. Though I kept waking up to check on her anyway. Old habits. It sounds like you're a good mother. Those words hit her harder than they should have. When was the last time someone had said that? When was the last time she'd felt like one? I'm trying. Some days that's all I can manage. That's more than enough. They texted sporadically throughout the day. Nothing deep, just small exchanges. He asked how Lily was doing. She sent a photo of the baby's tiny hand wrapped around her finger. He told her about a meeting that had gone badly. She told him about the weird noise her refrigerator was making. It felt normal. Easy, like talking to an old friend, rather than a stranger who'd rescued her from desperation 36 hours ago. That evening, after Lily was fed and changed and sleeping peacefully, Claire made a decision. She opened a voice memo app and started talking. Hi, Marcus. I wanted to record this because I'm not sure I can say it all in a text. What you did for us, it was more than just money. It was proof that good people still exist, that someone can see a stranger struggling and actually care enough to help. I've been alone with Lily for 3 months now. Her father left when I was 6 months pregnant. My family is scattered and distant in every sense of the word. I've been drowning slowly, trying to keep us both above water. And sometimes I wondered if anyone would even notice if we went under. You noticed. You reached out. You threw us a lifeline when you had no reason to. I don't know how to repay that, but I promise you changed something in me. You reminded me that kindness isn't extinct. Thank you, Marcus, for everything. She sent the voice message before her courage failed, then immediately panicked. Too much. Too personal. He'd think she was unstable or needy or trying to manipulate him into more help. But his response came through 10 minutes later. Also a voice message. His voice was deeper than she'd imagined, with a slight roughness at the edges. Claire, you don't owe me anything. Not gratitude, not repayment, not explanation. But since you shared that with me, I want to share something too. I've spent 20 years building a fortune. I've bought things I don't need, attended parties I didn't enjoy, and surrounded myself with people who only cared about what I could do for them. When I got your text, I was sitting alone in my office at midnight, working on deals that would make me richer and more empty. Helping you and Lily reminded me why I started all of this in the first place. My mother raised me alone. We were poor, really poor, the kind where you choose between electricity and food. She worked 3 jobs and still couldn't always make it work. I built everything I have, so she'd never struggle again. But she died 6 years ago. before I could give her even a fraction of what she deserved. So when I saw your message, it was like getting a chance to help her again. To be the person who shows up when someone needs it. You didn't take from me, Claire. You gave me something I didn't even know I'd lost. Purpose. Claire listened to the message 3 times, tears streaming down her face. This wasn't just a wealthy man throwing money at a problem to feel better about himself. This was someone who understood, who carried his own scars and recognized hers. She recorded another message. Can we keep talking? I know that's probably weird, but I feel like I can be honest with you in a way I can't with anyone else. His reply came quickly. I'd like that. Let's keep talking. And so they did. Every day. Morning texts about coffee and plans. Afternoon check-ins about Lily's naps and Marcus's meetings. Evening voice messages, where they shared pieces of themselves they rarely showed anyone else. Claire learned that Marcus lived alone in a penthouse he described as more museum than home, that he'd been engaged once to a woman who wanted his wealth, but not his history, that he lay awake some nights, wondering if success and happiness were mutually exclusive. Marcus learned that Claire had dropped out of college when her mother got sick, that she'd worked as a barista, a bookstore clerk, a dog walker, anything to pay bills and help with medical costs. That meeting Lily's father had felt like finally catching a break until it turned into just another heartbreak. That she sang made-up lullabies because she couldn't afford the cute musical toys other babies had. 2 weeks after that first text, Marcus asked a question that changed everything. Can I meet you? Claire stared at the message for a full 5 minutes. Like in person? Yes, if you're comfortable with that. I've been talking to you every day, and I'd like to see the face that goes with the voice. Her heart pounded. This was either the best idea or the worst idea. She didn't know which. Okay, but somewhere public. Of course. There's a coffee shop on Madison Street, the one with the blue awning. Tomorrow at 2, I'll be there. Fair warning though, I come with a baby. I'd be disappointed if you didn't. Claire changed her outfit 4 times, which was ridiculous because she only owned 6 outfits total, and half of them had spit up stains. She finally settled on jeans and a sweater that had only been washed a dozen times instead of 100. Lily was dressed in the nicest onesie she owned, the one with tiny flowers that made her look like a miniature person instead of a potato. The coffee shop was busier than Claire expected. Students on laptops, business people having meetings, a book club arguing cheerfully in the corner. She stood in the doorway, Lily strapped to her chest in the carrier, and scanned the room. And then she saw him. He sat at a table near the window, wearing jeans and a simple gray sweater. No suit, no pretense. He looked younger than she'd expected, maybe early 40s, with dark hair starting to silver at the temples, and eyes that found hers immediately. He stood as she approached, and she noticed he was tall. Not intimidating tall, just solid, present, real. Claire. She nodded, suddenly unable to speak. I'm Marcus. Hi. They stood there for a moment, 2 people who'd shared so much through screens now faced with the weight of actual presence. Can I get you something? Coffee? Tea? Just water is fine. I'm nursing and caffeine makes her fussy. He returned with water for her and black coffee for himself. When he sat down, his eyes went immediately to Lily, who was awake and staring up at Claire with wide, curious eyes. She's beautiful. She's basically just a milk processing unit at this point, but thank you. He laughed, and the sound broke the tension. They started talking, and it was easier than Claire had imagined. He asked about Lily's sleep schedule. She asked about his work. They discussed their favorite books and the weather, and whether Chicago or New York made better pizza. But underneath the surface conversation, something else was happening. Recognition. The kind that has nothing to do with having met before, and everything to do with seeing someone clearly. Can I hold her? Marcus asked, after about an hour. Claire hesitated only briefly before unstrapping Lily from the carrier and passing her over. Marcus took the baby with surprising confidence, cradling her against his chest with one large hand supporting her head. Lily looked up at him with those ancient eyes babies have, seeming to weigh and measure this new person. Then she yawned, stretched, and settled against him, like she'd known him forever. I think she likes you. The feeling is mutual. They stayed for another hour. Lily fell asleep against Marcus's shoulder. Claire told him about her morning, how the apartment's heat had stopped working, and the landlord wasn't returning calls. Marcus told her about a deal that had collapsed, and how relieved he'd felt instead of disappointed. When it was time to leave, Marcus walked them to the bus stop. The wind had picked up, cold and cutting. Claire, can I ask you something? Sure. Your apartment, the heat situation. Do you have somewhere warm to stay tonight? She pulled her jacket tighter. I've got space heaters. We'll be fine. That's not what I asked. She looked up at him. His face was serious, concerned. It's not ideal, but it's what we have. Marcus was quiet for a moment. Then I have a building, investment property on the north side. Good neighborhood, maintained units. One of the 2 bedrooms just opened up. Let me put you in it. Marcus, I can't afford anything on the north side. I'm not asking you to afford it. I'm offering it. As a friend. That's too much. You've already helped us so much. Let me be clear. I'm not offering this because I pity you. I'm offering because you and Lily deserve a safe, warm place to live, and I happen to have one sitting empty. Please, let me do this. Claire felt tears building. Pride warred with practicality, with motherhood, with the knowledge that Lily deserved better than space heaters and broken refrigerators. I can't just take charity, then pay me back someday, when you're on your feet, whatever amount feels right. But in the meantime, let me help. The bus appeared at the end of the block. I need to think about it. Of course, just let me know. But as Claire sat on the bus, Lily in her arms, watching the city scroll past, she already knew her answer. Pride was a luxury she couldn't afford, and maybe, just maybe, accepting help wasn't weakness. Maybe it was the bravest thing she could do. She texted him that night. Yes, we'll take the apartment. Thank you. His response was immediate. Good. Can you move in this weekend? That fast? No reason to wait. I'll send you the address. And just like that, Claire's life changed again. Not because of money, or charity, or pity, but because a stranger had become a friend, and that friend refused to let her drown. The apartment was on the 4th floor of a renovated brownstone. Hardwood floors, windows that actually opened, a kitchen with appliances that all worked, 2 bedrooms, a real bathroom with a tub deep enough to actually sit in. Claire stood in the empty living room, Lily on her hip, and tried not to cry. It's too much. Marcus set down the box he'd been carrying. He'd shown up to help her move with a rental truck, and refused to let her argue. It's an apartment. It's a palace. He smiled. You should see actual palaces. This is just a decent place to live. They spent the afternoon moving her meager belongings. It took 3 trips to bring everything from her old apartment, and even then, the new place looked empty. Bare walls, no furniture, except her mattress and Lily's bassinet. Marcus noticed her staring at the empty space. What are you thinking? That I need furniture, and that it'll take me months to afford any? Make a list, Marcus. Make a list, Claire, of what you need. Not want, need. Things that'll make this place livable for you and Lily. She wanted to argue, but she was tired of arguing with help. So she made the list: a couch, a table, and chairs, a crib for Lily, a dresser, basics, essentials. He looked at the list and nodded. I'll take care of it. You can't just buy me furniture. I'm not buying you furniture. I'm furnishing my own property. You just happen to be living here. Before she could protest, he continued, Claire, I have more money than I could spend in 5 lifetimes. Letting it sit in accounts earning interest doesn't make me feel good. Using it to help you and Lily makes me feel human. Let me be human. She looked at him, standing in her new empty apartment. This man who'd come into her life through a wrong number and kept showing up, kept helping, kept caring. Okay, but someday when I'm back on my feet, I'm paying you back. Deal. Now, let's order pizza. I'm starving. They sat on the floor, eating pizza straight from the box. Lily lay on a blanket between them, tracking their faces with her eyes. It felt domestic, normal, like something Claire hadn't experienced in so long she'd forgotten the shape of it. Can I ask you something? Claire said, wiping grease from her fingers. Always. Why are you really doing all this? And don't say because of your mom. There's more to it than that. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he set down his pizza and looked at her directly. I told you I was engaged once. Her name was Rachel. We dated for 3 years. She loved the idea of my wealth, the restaurants, the travel, the attention. But when I told her about where I came from, about my mom, working 3 jobs and us living in a car for 6 months when I was 8, she looked at me differently, like I was suddenly less than. She said she didn't sign up to be with someone from that background. We broke up 2 weeks later. I'm sorry. Don't be. It taught me something. That most people only want proximity to success, not the person who earned it. But you didn't know anything about me when you sent that text. You weren't trying to get something from me. You were just desperate and human and asking for help. And when I helped you, your gratitude was real. Not because of what else I could give you, but because of that one act. You saw me. Not my bank account. Me. Claire felt something shift in her chest. I do see you. I see someone who could have ignored that text, who could have sent the $22 and never thought about it again. But you didn't. You kept showing up. That's not about money. That's about character. Their eyes met and held. Something unspoken passed between them. Awareness, possibility. Lily made a small noise, breaking the moment. Claire picked her up and held her close. I should probably get her ready for bed. Marcus stood, gathering the pizza boxes. I'll get out of your way. But Claire, I'm glad I got that text, even though it was meant for someone else. Me too. After he left, Claire stood at the window and watched him walk to his car. He'd given her so much. Safety, security, hope. But what he didn't know was that he'd given her something else too. A reminder that she was worthy of being helped, that she mattered, that her life and Lily's life had value beyond what she could provide or produce. She looked down at her daughter, now sleeping peacefully in her arms. What do you think, Lily? Is he too good to be true? But Lily just slept, trusting in a way only babies can, and Claire decided to try trusting too. The furniture arrived 2 days later. Not cheap particle board from a discount store. Real furniture, solid and well made. A soft gray couch, a dining table with 4 chairs, a white crib with a matching dresser. Everything coordinated, tasteful, perfect. Claire stood in her now furnished apartment and called Marcus. This is too much. You keep saying that because you keep doing too much. Or maybe your baseline for what you deserve is too low. She was quiet, struck by the truth in that. Thank you, really. This is more than I could have hoped for. You're welcome. How does it feel? Like a home. For the first time in a long time, it feels like a real home. Good. That's what it should feel like. They fell into a rhythm after that. Marcus would stop by a few times a week, usually bringing food, because he'd noticed Claire rarely had time to cook properly. They'd eat together, talk, watch Lily hit tiny milestones. Her first real smile, the way she'd started tracking objects with her eyes, how she'd grab onto fingers with surprising strength. One evening about 3 weeks after Claire moved in, Marcus arrived, looking different, tired, strained. Bad day? He sank onto the couch and rubbed his face. Bad month. There's a merger that's falling apart. My CFO quit, and I got invited to speak at a conference about success and leadership. And all I could think was that I have no idea what I'm doing. You run a $1 billion company. 8 billion, actually. And most days I feel like I'm faking my way through it. Claire sat beside him, Lily in her lap. Can I tell you something? From the outside, you look like you have everything figured out. But I think that's the trick. Nobody has it figured out. We're all just doing our best with what we have. Your best seems a lot more meaningful than mine. My best is keeping a tiny human alive. Your best is providing jobs and opportunities for hundreds of people. They're different, but they both matter. He looked at her, really looked. How do you do that? Do what? Make me feel like a person instead of a portfolio. Because that's what you are. The money, the company, the success, that's what you do. Not who you are. And who you are is kind and generous. And someone who shows up for a single mom and her baby, even when you have no reason to. Marcus reached over and gently touched Lily's hand. The baby immediately grabbed his finger and held on. She's gotten stronger. She has. The pediatrician says she's hitting all her milestones early. Must get that from her mom. Claire laughed. I barely made it through high school. Definitely not from me. I didn't mean academically. I meant strength, resilience, the ability to keep going, even when everything seems impossible. Their eyes met again, and this time neither looked away. The air between them felt charged, heavy with things unsaid. Marcus, I know. It's complicated. Is it? You're you. I'm me. And we're sitting here together, and it feels right. But the circumstances, the power dynamic. You're living in my building, Claire. I don't want you to feel obligated. Stop. Just stop. Claire set Lily in the nearby bassinet, then turned to face him fully. I was obligated when you sent that first $100. I stopped being obligated when you asked if we could keep talking, when you met me for coffee, when you helped me move. Everything since then has been choice. My choice. So don't take that away from me by assuming I'm only here because of what you've given me. Then why are you here? Because you're the first person in years who's made me feel like I'm more than my circumstances. You see me, Marcus. Not the struggling single mom. Not the girl who made bad choices. Me. And I see you too. And what do you see? Someone lonely. Someone successful but unfulfilled. Someone who's been looking for something real and couldn't find it until he accidentally did. Marcus moved closer, his hand coming up to touch her face gently. What are we doing, Claire? I don't know, but I don't want to stop. He kissed her then, soft and careful, like she was something precious that might break. Claire kissed him back, pouring months of gratitude and growing feeling into it. When they pulled apart, both were breathing hard. This changes things, Marcus said. I know. We should probably take this slow. Probably. They looked at each other and smiled. Lily made a soft noise from her bassinet, reminding them of the reality they couldn't escape. Marcus stood and walked over to her. Hey there, little one. Your mom and I are figuring things out. Hope that's okay with you. Lily waved her small fists in what could have been approval or just random baby movement. Either way, it felt like permission. That night, after Marcus left with promises to call tomorrow, Claire lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. Her life had changed so much in such a short time, from desperate and alone to hopeful and connected, from texting the wrong number to finding the right person. She picked up her phone and scrolled back to that first message, the one that had started everything. Jason, I know you don't want to hear from me. Such a simple mistake. But it had led her here. To Marcus. To this apartment. To a future that looked different than she'd imagined. But better than she dared hope. Sometimes, the wrong number is exactly right. The next few months unfolded like a story Claire had never imagined writing. Marcus continued running his company, but now there were breaks in his day for video calls with her and Lily. Weekend mornings at the apartment, where he'd show up with bagels and coffee, and they'd eat breakfast together like a family. He taught Claire things about money. Not just how to manage it, but how to think about it differently, how to invest, how to plan, how to build something sustainable instead of just surviving day to day. She taught him things too. How to slow down, how to find joy in small moments, how holding a baby could be the most important meeting of his day. They went public with their relationship slowly, first with Marcus's assistant, who'd noticed his improved mood, then with Claire's sister, who'd been skeptical at first, but softened when she saw how Marcus looked at Claire. Eventually, with his business associates and the few friends Claire had maintained, most people were supportive. Some whispered about the circumstances, about power dynamics and intentions. But Marcus and Claire had learned to ignore noise that came from people who didn't understand their story. 6 months after that first text, Marcus asked Claire to move in with him, not to the penthouse, which he admitted had always felt more like a showroom than a home, to a house in one of Chicago's family-friendly neighborhoods. 4 bedrooms, a backyard, space for Lily to grow. "It's too much," Claire said, but she was smiling. "You always say that, and I'm always right." They moved in together in early autumn. Claire enrolled in online classes to finish her degree. Marcus cut back his hours, promoting his VP to handle more of the day-to-day operations. They hired a part-time nanny so Claire could study and Marcus could work, but both made sure to be present for Lily's important moments. Her first laugh, the first time she rolled over, the day she tasted solid food and made a face like they'd poisoned her. All of it documented, celebrated, shared between 2 people who'd found each other in the most unlikely way. One evening, almost a year after that desperate text, Claire and Marcus sat on their back porch while Lily slept inside. The baby monitor sat between them, broadcasting her peaceful breathing. "Do you ever think about how this started?" Claire asked. "Every day. Do you think it was fate?" Marcus considered the question. "I think it was a wrong number, and we chose to make it into something right. Very practical. I'm a practical man. You're a man who sent a stranger $100 based on a text message. That's not practical. That's faith. Maybe you're right. Maybe I had faith that something good could come from it. And did it?" Marcus reached over and took her hand. "Claire, I spent 20 years building a fortune because I thought that would make me happy, make me worthy, make me enough. But I was wrong. All that money just bought me a comfortable place to be lonely. Then you sent that text, and everything changed. Not because of what I gave you, because of what you gave me. What did I give you? A reason, a purpose, someone to come home to, a reminder that life is about more than accumulation. It's about connection." Claire felt tears welling up. "I was so scared that night. So desperate. I didn't know how I was going to take care of Lily. Didn't know if I was strong enough. And then you answered. You were always strong enough. I just helped you see it. We helped each other." They sat in comfortable silence, hands linked, watching the stars appear, one by one, above the Chicago suburbs. Inside, Lily stirred and resettled, her small sounds the soundtrack to their new life. "Marcus? Yeah? Thank you for answering. Thank you for texting the wrong number." 2 years later, on a crisp autumn afternoon, Marcus stood in the backyard watching Lily, now a toddler, chase leaves in her unsteady but determined waddle. Claire sat beside him, her hand in his, a small diamond ring catching the afternoon light. They'd gotten engaged 3 months earlier, not with a grand gesture or public proposal, just a quiet moment in their bedroom after Lily had gone to sleep. Marcus had simply asked if she'd want to make this permanent. Claire had said yes, before he'd finished the question. The wedding was planned for next spring. Small, intimate, just the people who mattered. "Can you believe how much has changed?" Claire said. "Sometimes I still wake up and think it's a dream. Good dream or bad dream, the best dream." Lily fell down in the leaves and looked back at them, her face a question. Should she cry? Both parents smiled and clapped encouragement. She decided falling was fun and did it again deliberately, dissolving into giggles. "She's fearless," Marcus said with pride. "She gets that from you. Please. She gets everything good from you. She gets her stubbornness from both of us." They laughed together, and Marcus pulled Claire closer. "You know what I think about sometimes?" "What?" "That guy, Jason, the one you meant to text. What about him? I hope he's okay, and I hope he knows that his loss was my gain." Claire turned to look at him. "Should I feel bad that I haven't thought about him in almost 2 years? No. He made his choice, and his choice led you to me, to us, to us." Lily toddled over, leaves stuck in her hair, demanding to be picked up. Marcus scooped her up and spun her around while she shrieked with delight. Claire watched them, her heart so full it ached. This wasn't the life she'd planned. It wasn't the story she'd imagined when she was younger, dreaming about her future, but it was better, real, built on a foundation of accidental connection that had grown into intentional love. Her phone buzzed in her pocket. She pulled it out and saw a text from an unknown number. "Hey, this might be weird, but I think you texted me by mistake about 2 years ago, asking for baby formula money. I was going through old messages and found it. Just wanted to say I hope you and your baby are doing okay." Claire stared at the message. "Jason." After all this time, she showed it to Marcus. He read it and raised an eyebrow. "Are you going to respond?" Claire thought about it, about that desperate night, about the text that had changed everything, about the life she had now, because she'd accidentally reached the right person at exactly the right time. She typed back, "We're more than okay. We're happy. Thank you for checking in. I hope you're well too." Then she deleted the message thread and slipped the phone back in her pocket. Some chapters close, some doors lock, and that was okay, because other doors open. Other stories begin. "What did you say?" Marcus asked. "That we're happy. Because we are." "Yeah, we are." Lily demanded to be put down so she could chase more leaves. They let her go, watching her explore the world with the confidence of a child who'd never known want or fear. "You know what the best part is?" Claire said. "Tell me that she'll never know how close we came to having a different life. She'll just grow up thinking this is normal. Having 2 parents who love her, having everything she needs, being secure. Is that what you want? For her not to know the struggle?" Claire considered it. "I want her to know that struggle exists. I want her to be compassionate and aware, but I don't want her to carry the weight we carried. She can learn about hard times without living them. We'll make sure of it." As the sun set over their backyard, painting the sky in shades of orange and gold, the 3 of them went inside. Lily needed dinner and a bath, and about 17 books read before she'd even consider sleep. The promise of tomorrow. Inside the warm, brightly lit house, the evening unfolded with the quiet, comforting chaos of a young family. Marcus handled the bath, his large, capable hands surprisingly gentle as he washed soap from Lily's hair. Claire managed the dinner, a simple meal she ate quickly while listening to the sounds of splashing and Marcus's low, rumbling voice making up silly songs. After Lily was tucked into her crib, clutching her favorite plush giraffe, Claire and Marcus settled onto the couch, exhaustion mixed with deep contentment radiating between them. "She's asleep for the night, I think," Claire whispered. "I hope so. My songwriting skills are not what they used to be," Marcus replied, smiling as he wrapped an arm around her. He looked around the living room, at the family photos on the mantel, the small pile of toddler toys in the corner, the worn but beloved copy of a classic children's book Claire had just finished reading. This was his home, not the sterile, towering penthouse of his past. This was the success that actually mattered. "Do you remember that first list you made?" he asked, tracing a line on her arm. "The couch, the table, the crib. Of course, the basics, the essentials. You left something off that list, you know." Claire tilted her head. "What was that?" "Hope," he said simply. "You needed hope, Claire, and I was lucky enough to be the one who got to deliver it. A little furniture, a house, a company, all of that is just stuff. But seeing you and Lily here, secure, happy, that's the real return on investment." Claire leaned her head on his shoulder, the gesture feeling completely natural, completely right. "And you, Marcus," she said softly, "you needed someone to see beyond the 8 billion and look straight at the man who was just a boy, living in a car 6 months out of the year. I didn't give you a new life. I gave you a place to be your true self." He turned to her then, his eyes serious and full of a profound feeling that had nothing to do with finance or mergers. "That's everything. That's more than enough." They sat there for a long time, the only sound the faint, steady breathing of their daughter, through the baby monitor. The struggle had been real. The accidental text had been real. But the love that grew from that initial desperate mistake was the most real thing of all. Claire knew that life would still bring challenges. There would be business hurdles for Marcus, parenting crises for them both, and bills to pay, despite the wealth. But they wouldn't face them alone. They had chosen to turn a wrong number into a perfect match, a desperate plea into a foundation for a beautiful life. She reached out and picked up her phone, pulling up the contacts. She scrolled past the dozens of new numbers, nannies, pediatricians, neighbors, business contacts, until she found the one she was looking for. Marcus, saved under the simple, heartfelt entry, the right number. She sent him a text, even though he was sitting right beside her. I love our life. Thank you for being my unexpected everything. Marcus's phone buzzed in his hand. He read the text, his smile slow and genuine. He didn't text back. He just put the phone down, turned, and kissed her. A quiet, deep kiss that held a promise of all the easy, comfortable, and loving years to come. The world outside could keep chasing its grand, complicated stories. Their story started with a mistake, but it was ending, every single day, with a clear, simple, and profound truth. It was never about the formula money. It was always about the right connection.